Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in to another review video, and today it's Trails of Tucana by Aporta Games. This is another roll and write from the same designers who did Avenue. This was a very popular roll and write amongst people. I personally have not played that one though. And it has to be said that the whole roll and write, flip and write thing, the games I tend to like, but I'm starting to find this genre a bit stale, and I'm surprised if other people aren't as well. Because just like certain other things, it's like, God, it's like another one, and another one, and another one. They just keep coming out. And most of the time, they tend to fall foul to one big problem of multiplayer solitaire, where you could play this game with up to 50 people, and it makes no difference whatsoever. My key one is still Harvest Dice to this day, but does Trails of Tucana, stand out in any way that makes it separate from a lot of others in the genre? Well, we'll get on to that. But in Trails of Tucana, you have a hex map in front of you. You can pick the small or the large one, depending on how long you want the game to be or how difficult you want it to be. And on this map are some villages with nothing written them to begin with. But what you do is you flip a card and it tells you the letters where one player will write like D, E, C, B, A, whatever, in order around. And then the next player will do it, but they'll go one clockwise and then start writing, and the next player will go one clockwise and start writing. So everybody's got a unique starting set of villages. Across the map are lots of different terrain hexes and various sites, basically symbols, that you're hoping to connect. And similar in the case to Avenue, from what I gather, you are drawing road networks, or in this case trail networks, on the thing based on flipping cards over. You flip 2 terrain cards, and there'll be forest, desert, mountain, water, that kind of thing. And you have to basically draw a trail from one hex to another that are the 2 terrain types you've just flipped. And what you're attempting to do is either connect your villages from letter to letter, so A to A, B to B, C to C, or you're trying to connect sites to villages in general. Connecting a site will get you points every single round of the 2 that there are in the game, but if you connect another site of the same type, you'll get a bonus trail that you can draw on, so there's 2 ways to get points here. If you're the first person to get a trail, you'll also get bonus points for doing so, and essentially you play for 2 rounds. You run out the deck, do an interim scoring phase with the sites, then you shuffle the deck, go again, and then you do final scoring where your villages then score. And of course, once you're all done with that, guess what? Person with the most points wins.
Of course!
So those of you who have played Avenue are probably going to find that this already sounds a little bit familiar. There are some differences here, but you're getting that same kind of design. So if you're already fans of Avenue, you'll probably get a kick out of this one as well. Now, in terms of its production quality, it's pretty straightforward, but it's pretty decent as well. The cover is nothing to sing home about. You're not necessarily going to walk past it twice on the shelf, but you get pencils in the box, and the map is very well done, the artwork is colourful, the cards are decent enough quality, and that's pretty much the deal. There's not much else to actually care about when it comes to a roll and write. You want pencils, you want a decent pad that's colourful, and some cards. That's pretty much the deal. There's no tokens, there's nothing like that. It's a pretty simple production. It claims that it can play from 1 to 8 players in about 15 minutes or so. 15 minutes. If you're playing by yourself, yes. By yourself in solo mode, which is literally just a case of drawing the trails on, trying to get the most points, you have to, you can do it in 15 minutes. But I would say it's more kind of 15 minutes and then add 5 minutes a player, 5-10 minutes a player, because it will take a little bit more time with other people there as well. But where it says 1 to 8, yeah, it's the same problem as other roll and writes. You don't care what they're doing. Well, most of it. In some of these like roll and writes, it is fully 100% multiplayer solitaire. Railroad Inc., Welcome to, they all have this problem. You roll a dice or you flip a card, I really could not care less what my neighbour does, I'm doing my own thing. Here you're mostly like that, because your map is different from everybody else's, so you're just trying to figure out how to connect your sites and your villages in the best and most economic way possible, while kind of gambling and pressing your luck on whether you'll be able to fill up certain terrain types later. However, there is a certain amount of tension that comes from the race aspect. The bonus cards in front of you give you bonus points for finishing a type of group of villages first. So there is an element of tension where you're thinking like, come on, I'm almost there. Hey, come on, he's not done it yet. Come on, he's done it. Come on. Oh, and he beat me to it. And there's a little bit of that, but that's pretty much it. You could if you're able to look at other people's maps and figure out exactly where they are from what they've drawn with a pencil or something, then you don't need glasses. But trust me, you ain't got time to do that. And this is a roll and write game. Nobody is peering at other people's maps every turn going, oh yeah, you've done that right. You're 2 spaces away. Okay, you're 1 space away. No, it's not like that. You can do that in something like Harvest Dice because it's nice and quick and you've only got to look at like 10 spaces practically most of the time. But you know, in here, you're not going to do that on this big, especially if it's the grand map you're doing, the huge one with the extra bonus cards. Then it's like, you know, no way you're going to be peering at other people's maps to see what they're doing. On a side note, blue and red bonus cards, you throw the blue ones in every game to give you points for the villages. Always throw the red ones in that get you bonus points for the sites because there is really no reason not to. You know, it's like come on, you want some incentive to get those sites, and personally, you tend to get a bit more in the way of points from doing the villages than you do the sites. As much as, you know, getting the sites is great and all, I've managed to like max out all the sites and still lose. So you kind of can't neglect the villages, especially even if you haven't got the bonus. You can't really neglect them. Now, as I say, multiplayer Solitaire, 1 to 8 players, what does it matter? You're pretty much playing this as a solo player. But it is relatively quick. I mean, it fits the bill of a filler. You know, it's not a long game to play. I certainly see no reason why I would play this with 8 players. It just seems completely pointless. But say there's 4 of you and you just fancy playing a roll and write, you will get this done in about half an hour, maybe 40 minutes tops. So it is kind of stretching that boundary a little bit, but for the most part, you will get it in that filler category. The question is it still fun to play? It's fine. But again, this is a problem with roll and writes. I feel that this one is, on its own, in a vacuum, a solid roll and write. I think if you liked Avenue, I think you're going to like this one as well. And I can have fun doing it. But again, I would play solo. Why would I play this with other players? But it doesn't have anything distinguishable about it. You know, my favourite is Harvest Dice. There's a reason for that. It is the one roll and write out there that actually encourages some kind of player interaction and direct interaction. You're drafting those dice and you can actively easily see which dice benefits you, which dice will increase the cost of the the points value of stuff, and which one will screw over an opponent. So it's much more in your face interactive. But a lot of this one, again, it's just not interactive. It's drawing, network, and connecting A to B. We've seen that before. You know, oh, here's a symbol, let's connect that and get more points. We've seen that before. And even flipping cards over for terrain. Cartographers has also done that. So there's nothing new or particularly innovative in this game. Now, replay value, if you're a fan of this, you'll get it. There's plenty enough sheets on that pad, and you can play the small version with new players, or if you want a more longer game, which, like I say, you can literally throw that 15-minute timer out the window if you're going to do a long game. But you have the option of doing the bigger map if that takes your fancy. Personally, I don't see the point in doing the big map. I would just happily do the small game, really. Occasionally I've done the big map by myself, but multiplayer, no point. I'd just stick with the small map. It's hard enough trying to connect up those villages anyway, because you'll never get the 2 terrain types you want at any given moment. And, you know, you could try and game the system by remembering how much of each terrain there is and trying to remember how much has come out. So what's the odds you're going to get that? If you can do that, then go down to a casino and win yourself lots of money or something, because frankly, I'm not counting cards to that degree. You know, it's just, you're kind of already trying to do your network and you're trying to keep this as a short game. So it's one of those things where I can only say it's average. It's fine. If you're a fan of the genre, then go for it. Go grab it. Go try it out. I'm sure you'll have a good time. But for someone like me who doesn't really get, you know, like engrossed into roll and writes, you know, they're not thematic games. They tend to not have the replay value for me. And again, they're just feeling very samey. And this one kind of has that thing as well. Nothing about it screams, this is unique about Trails of Tucana. It's another roll and write. It's kind of what you expect. Apart from the fact that it is relatively well produced and it is very simple to pick up and play. So that's a good thing in its own right. You know, you could shove this in a game cafe. This is totally gateway game approved. There is no, you know, issue with that at all. But I just can't see myself going, yeah, you know, I'll bring this to a game night, or even be that fussed if I play it again. I'm kind of done with it at this point. The occasional solo game maybe, but I've got Harvest Dice for multiplayer, I've got Imperial Settlers Roll and Write, which I still think is probably my favourite solo roll and write game. This one wouldn't eclipse Imperial Settlers Roll and Write for me because of the replay value and the uniqueness of how the Imperial Settlers one works. So, in a vacuum, this is a fine game, but it's just decidingly average for me. This one, for me, pretty much just probably gets about a 6 for me. You know, I like it, it's fine, I'm just not really going to seek it out. And I know that's kind of a personal nitpick as well, which is why I'm not quite dropping it down to a 5 or anything, because I think that's kind of unfair on the game. But I just don't see anything that's going to make this stand out. I reckon in a year's time, you'll forget this even exists, unless you are a devout roll and write fan, because there's so many of them out there, and I'm pretty sure people have already cherry-picked their favourites by now. It's another one there. If you like them, then go grab it. If you're not a fan, this isn't going to sway you onto the genre. You might want to look elsewhere. So that's it from me on Trails of Tucana for Porta Games. I'll see you on the next Broken Meeple video, and regardless of whether you can draw your line this way, that way, or connect A to B, it's still only a game. Take care, and I'll see you next video.